Hello, and welcome to this video on accessing databases using SQL Magic. In this video, you will learn what magic statements are, the difference between line magic and cell magics, some popularly used magic statements, and how to use SQL Magic in Jupyter Notebooks to access databases. So what are magic statements in Jupyter Notebooks? Magic commands or magic functions are special commands in Jupyter Notebooks that provide special functionalities. They are not valid Python code, but affect the behavior of the notebook. They are designed to solve various common problems in standard data analysis. There are two types of magic statements in Jupyter Notebooks: line magics and cell magics. Line magics in Jupyter Notebooks are commands that are prefixed with a single percentage character and operate on a single line of input. They are like command line calls in a terminal shell. On the other hand, cell magics are prefixed with 2 percentage characters and operate on multiple lines of input. They can even transform the entire cell or execute the cell in a different programming language. Some popularly used line magics in Jupyter Notebooks: %pwd. This command prints the current working directory. %ls. This command lists all files in the current directory. %history. This command shows the command history. %reset. This command resets the namespace by removing all names defined by the user. %who. This command lists all variables in the namespace. %whos. This command provides more detailed information about all variables in the namespace. %matplotlib inline. This command makes matplotlib plots appear within the notebook. %timeit, which times the execution of a single statement. To get a list of all available line magics, you can use %ls magic command. You can use multiple line magics in a single cell in a Jupyter Notebook. Each line magic should be on its own line. For example, %pwd, %ls. This will print the current working directory and then list all files in the current directory. Remember, line magics operate on a single line of input, so you can use as many as you need in a single cell if each is on its own line. Some line magic statements can also be used as cell magic statements, which would change the way they respond. For instance, %timeit would generate response with the time required to execute a single statement, whereas %timeit times the execution of the entire cell. Another example where cell magics are uniquely applicable is writefile, since %writefile myfile.txt writes the contents of the cell to myfile.texts. Cell magics are not just limited to Python. They allow you to run code in other languages too. Let's see some examples. %HTML cell magic allows you to write HTML code in your cell, and it will be rendered accordingly. For example, the use of HTML code displays the text "Hello World" as a heading. %JavaScript or %JS cell magic allows you to write JavaScript code in your cell. For example, the use of JavaScript code generates a web page pop-up with the display message "Hello World." %bash cell magic allows you to write bash commands. For example, the use of bash script statement echo generates the text "Hello World" as will be received in a terminal. Before you can use SQL Magic, however, you will need to install some dependencies. First, install the IPython-SQL library, which allows SQL Magic. You can do this by running !pip install-user IPython-SQL in a code cell of a notebook. Next, to use the SQL Magic in Jupyter Notebook, you need to load the SQL extension using %load_ext SQL. Then you can run SQL queries by entering %SQL or %SQL, depending on whether you want to use line or cell magic. Before running the queries, however, you need to establish a connection between the SQL server and the SQL Magic module of the notebook. As an example, let us explore the use of SQL Magic with the SQL Lite 3 database server. We first need to establish a connection to a database, say hr.db, using SQL Lite 3. Next, you load the external SQL module using %load_ext_SQL. Now, you need to establish a connection for the SQL Magic module to the SQL server being accessed. This is done using the statement %SQL SQLite: //hr.db. Now, you can use SQL Magic for executing any kind of queries on the table. A sample is shown here for displaying the contents of employee table in the HR database. Let's list the concepts you have learned. Now you can describe magic statements, differentiate line magics and cell magics, discuss some popularly used magic statements, explain the use of SQL Magic in Jupyter Notebooks to access databases.